A deeper analysis of the rising threats and attacks are shaping our country and the world today. The security landscape in 2025 and 2026 is increasingly defined by the convergence of physical and digital violence. Hospitals, airports, and utilities are under attack for ransomware and denial of service incidents, delaying emergency care and disrupting daily life. Nation-state actors like China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea are using advanced cyber and capabilities to target critical infrastructure and steal sensitive data, while the falling cost of technology means even non-state actors can access weapons and tools once exclusive to governments. Here in Nigeria, insecurity is on the rise, with more than 5,000 violent deaths reported in the past year and more than 3 million people displaced due to banditry, kidnapping, and insurgency. Economically, these challenges are estimated to cost the country 2% of its annual GDP, affecting trade, investment, and livelihoods. Climate change, resource scarcity, and cyber threats to public health further multiply these risks. To help us unpack these complex threats and explore strategies for resilience, we're joined in the studio by Salihu Dantata Mahmud, a respected security expert and public affairs commentator. Together, we will be analyzing what is driving these rising threats, their impact on our economy and society, and what can be done to make Nigeria safer and more resilient. Welcome. Dr. Mahmud, thank you for joining us. It's been a while that I've seen you, so I'm going to say multiple Happy New Years to you.
So if you give me doctor, I will be happy, but I'm a comrade actually. I'm a comrade, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you and Nigerians watching us.
Good morning. And now let's start off based on our phone-in segment. We opened the lines this morning, to hear from our viewers because their voices do matters. They live in these communities and they know what is happening. And based on, the reports that we got from them, it seems that the security issues that we're facing in Nigeria is still on the rise. We're not seeing any change or any effect from the Nigerian government, because from last week down to last 2 weeks, we have been seeing reported attacks on communities and, lives and properties. So can you give us an overview of the current security landscape in Nigeria and also West Africa and how it compares to previous years?
Well, if you observe domestically, in terms of security, we have derailed, because we know during the military administration, no non-state actor dared go attack even two people, talk more of three. But from the advent of stability, of democracy, particularly from 2009, we started experiencing insurgency from the northeastern part of the country, later armed banditry in northwestern part of the country. Today, both the terrorism as well as armed banditry has escalated up to North Central. Then when you go generally in West Africa, every country has its flesh of it. We knew the kind of attack on military formations in Burkina Faso that happened of recent. Mali is also having its flesh of it because they overran their military cantonment, kill a lot of personnel and officers and a host of other things. Then Niger is battling with its own, Chad itself. So in the whole, most Sahelian states, as well as some West African states, are battling with that. Don't forget, Idris Deby, former president of Chad, had to give up his life because of that when he led a contingent of his military people to carry out onslaught against invading Boko Haram extremists and host of other things. Sometimes the reasons are not far-fetched. Once you have misplaced priorities, this is what happens. In a situation where you make huge budgetary allocation, you appropriate monies for security without oversight, to even go and see, okay, the money we give to police, how many outposts, division headquarters, and other squadrons have they been able to erect? What equipment and weapons have they bought? What about the trainings? What about the logistics? What about the welfare? Same thing to the armed forces. How many battalions, how many brigades, how many this and that, then Air Force base, naval base, and all of other things. The non-availability of permanent security structures are also making this not to have an end. Then above all, we have certain intelligence networks. They only work where they are guarding governor, certain chief, Mr. President, ministers, and this. You go to nook and crannies, they are not there. Like this Woro now in Kwara State, under Kayama local government area, where there to be 4 or 5 drones. At the time, these non-state actors came and grouped in the primary school before they started carrying out their nefarious activities. That drone will have made the intelligence arm and the combat-ready officers and men of the army, police, or others to go and start repelling them. But they had a field day because, one, you have dilapidated nature of roads. From Wawa to Kayama is nothing to write home about. It's supposed to be 67 kilometers or less than, but you spend 5 or 6 hours. No matter how good the vehicle is, these roads have been lying there without being attended to. They said they awarded it to certain Gilmore. We don't know where it is. Then from Kayama to Kosobosu is another nightmare. And these areas have economic benefit. Same way you go to Zamfara. When you leave, maybe from Talata Mahara to other areas, Maru to other areas, Bungudu, you see dilapidated nature of bad roads. Then also Katsina. Then you go to the northeast too, the same thing. So certain factors are responsible. Corruption in the security circle, loss of oversight by the 2 chambers of the National Assembly, non-use of modern intelligence gathering gadgets, then sophisticated weapons. Even during Buhari administration, they procured Tucano. Where are they? They are lying fallow. Tucano has the capability of carrying out on for 4 hours. Alpha Jet goes less than 1 hour, it has to come back to base. And most of these non-state actors, there are both domestic conspirators and international conspirators, because you cannot say a non-state actor knows how to undo Tavo rifle that Israeli elitist security uses.
But then, comrade, I want to ask you, each time we talk about this security and, the tools, or rather the equipment that are being put in place for these troops to use in neutralizing these state actors, as we do call them, you hear the Minister of Defense, you hear, people in the security agencies say that Nigeria has the capacity, we have what it takes for us to, if we really want to do this. Why do you think up till now is still a problem? Is it that, the Nigerian army lack, should I say, the strategy in which they would have to carry out in tackling these insecurity issues that we're having in Nigeria?
Political will is lacking. Don't forget, former President Jonathan said even in his government there are Boko Haram members. There are certain undesirable, disgruntled, and unpatriotic elements that are the aim of affairs that also don't want it to end because they feel happy when it happens. So from the political circle, from different circles, there also, the political will is lacking. Let me give you an example. This same military we are talking about liberated Liberia during Babangida Abacha administration. Outside General Aquino from Ghana, whose negligence made Yomi Johnson boys to kill Samuel, to injure Samuel Dole, which later led to his death. They changed him with Joshua Dongoyaro. Then we later had the likes of late General Malu, the likes of Abdullah Mohammed were there, Timothy Shelpidi, and Kobe, and host of others. Look at Liberia today, they've been liberated. The same way during General Sani Abacha, blessed memory, when Major John Koroma struck in Freetown, Sierra Leone, they sent ECOMOG forces and went and dislodged them from government house in Siaka Stephen Street in Freetown, then reinstalled democratically elected government of Tijan Kaba. We had been to peacekeeping in Congo as far back as 1956, the lack of General Obasanjo and also other. Political will is lacking. All the sophistication, the regular combatant officers that trained for years in NDA, they have it. Short service officers have it. Direct short service officers have it. Police officers that train in police academy have it. The DSS. You can imagine DSS will gather intelligence, give. It will not be acted upon. Same way in the Defense Intelligence Agency, the Director of Military Intelligence, Air Intelligence, and what have you. Political will is like in bureaucracy. They will say, this is, okay, you can imagine now this war, for instance. They said President Bola Tinubu initially approved the deployment of a battalion. Do you need Commander-in-Chief's approval for battalion? They are regimented. There are certain levels of insecurity that you have to go to, Mr. President. What happens to chiefs of army, air and naval staffs? What happens to Minister of Defense, Chief of Defense Staff, IG, DSS? There should be certain level of approval that even an area commander can do, commanding officer can do. For example, if there are invading bandits or insurgents, you don't need Abuja to give that approval. Just like the Minister of Defense said when he was Chief of Defense Staff, shoot at sight. So I think they should also restructure and give certain powers that a DPO, if you have up to 100-man force and you see 70 bandits or insurgents approaching, waste them. Let's forget about extrajudicial killing. Internet. Human rights only happens when innocent people are not killed. Let's not say if they waste them that international, even America does that. America even invades countries and they commit more human rights, what have you, not minding international human rights charter. So Nigerian security forces from Army, Navy, Air Force, Police, DSS and others, they should give them those shoot at sight order. When you are in Baga, Damboa, Maru, Sahe, Talata Mahora, Kankia, Kankara, Woro, when you are in Okuta, when you are in Taberu, or you are in any Ebonyi village, or even you could be in Anambra State. Once unknown gunman approaches, bandit approaches, insurgent approaches, waste them, use your AK-47 or AK-49. Send them to God. It lies on God to judge them. Because we cannot say we subject them to, when we have a faulty criminal justice administration. It is high time on governed areas they establish MOPO squadrons, those of counter-terrorism units, special forces, as well as military cantonments. We thank God President Bola Tinubu, aftermath of Woro massacre, where about 300 were wasted, even though government said it was 75. They said Mr. President has approved siting of permanent army battalion in Kama. That is commendable. It should be followed by siting of MOPO squadron there. The reasons are there are agricultural produce that increases revenue drive of state and federal government there. They have cotton and soya bean. Then that place also leads to Benin Republic, where the smuggling activities as a result of bad road makes them not to follow the bush path. So a lot of things needed. It is needed there. Outside the army battalion, there should be MOPO squadron. Then there should be, you see, DSS, whether you like it or not, in terms of civil intelligence, they are ahead. When you go to local government, you see DSS operatives on motorcycle. What happens to giving DSS 3 or 4 ELOCs there? The divisional headquarters, you can only find 1 ELOCs. Once DPO uses or DCO, when there is onslaught you want to go for, where do you get it? So they should give rural police, rural army, and whatever that are posted there in the interest of Federal Republic of Nigeria, more sophisticated vehicles, then their welfare too. Morale of officers and men should be boosted. Hazard and insurance. I watched a documentary the other day, I shed tears, where they got amputated because they were laying their lives for Nigeria, and an NGO had to come and start sharing 200,000. What happens to the monies we have? There should be hazard and insurance. It will motivate them that, yes, when I go in the course of defending the territorial integrity of my country and something happens, I have something to fall back at, including housing schemes. Let them liaise with the Ministry of Housing. For any officer that is in the service, it should be profiled. They do it abroad. That is why you see in America, nothing like rank. Even whether it's an officer or what have you, they have certain basics. Their security is guaranteed, but in Nigeria, no insurance, no hazard. When anything happen in eventual, we know of CSP Fikwa, even though it was not at the aftermath of Boko Haram, when he became blinded, a CSP that was giving his life, what happened? I think it's even late now. So there are many more cases. So if we want to start talking, it is endless. But these are some of the things we need to do.
Now, comrade, one other concern by Nigerians is each time these attacks have been carried out and investigations have been, being carried out as well, you hear things like, oh, there was a warning sign. And then one begins to wonder, if you had these warning signs, what did you do to prevent these attacks from happening? So I want to hear from you this morning, where are the biggest operational gaps that we are having when it comes to these insecurity issues? Is it that, there's no synergy between the security agencies that we have, or is it that we don't have enough manpower, we don't have the capacity to, swing into actions immediately we get to hear those warning signs?
Manpower is the major thing. Even though Mr. President said they should recruit certain percentages in police, army, navy, air force, including DSS, but manpower is one of the devastating effects. Manpower. What are we supposed to have? Let's start from the civil police. 400, one police officer to 400. Is that happening now? No. This is Utako. God forbid, if there's an emergency here, even when you are calling and they put it on control room, before they get here, you have to do your first line of defense and what have you. So shortage of manpower is the problem. Because, for example, now we have Operation Adinkai under Major General Abdusalam Abubakar that is gathering momentum in the Northeast. We have Operation Fansanyama, also, or even that of Woro now, that is Operation Savannah, Shield, and also other things. But the issues are how many cadets does personnel parade in NDA? When these non-state actors are moving, they move 300, 400. The officers you send there, you can hardly find up to 200 gun trucks at once. Because just the way they are battling in the Northeast, same way they are doing here, so manpower is the major problem. Then two, poor welfare. Some of them are not encouraged to give him their best. They saw the things that happened to late Lieutenant Colonel Abu Ali, Major Fambia, and host of others. Where are the children of Lieutenant Colonel Abu Ali? Somebody was telling me they are in a kind of situation. The Brigadier General Uba, what have we had on it? So let there be more recruitment drive, both at the officers level. NDA, at this time, you don't need to say every year you are taking one naval cadet for regular combatant training, one Air Force cadet, one Army cadet. Where do you do that? 10-10, let NDA regular combatant cadet intake, annual one, be extended to 10. You know, in every state, you have to have that equality, nothing like quota. Then short service too, open the gap. Godfatherism, a man normal is also killing it, where the most capable and able-bodied don't get recruited there. For NDA, for instance, politics happens at the selection board for the regular combatant cadet, where they will say, sometimes there is no connection, they will say you are not medically fit and all stuff like that. So corruption, favoritism, godfatherism are also killing. So also recruit the most capable and qualified people into the forces, including the police, even police academy, they have that mentality. So the issues are shortage of, we don't have enough manpower, then the equipments and weapons are not also there. I can tell you where you find the sophisticated weapons, maybe one mechanized division Kaduna, 82 Enugu, 2nd division Ibadan, 81 Lagos, 7th division Maiduguri, 8th division Sokoto, and also, but if you go to all these battalions, they have, even though I know in Kanji there are up to enough and whatever, but what you should do in the military, even if it is the remote, like these our border areas that are porous, it is a must now that they should cite Air Force Base, Mopo Squadron, and Army battalions there. At the border areas, most of them, if you go to all these Idi Roko, Owode, Ogun, and semi-borders of Lagos and Ogun State, you can't find full-fledged battalions or Air Force Base there. In border area, you're supposed to have it in case of external aggression. Then also this Kwara, Kosubosu, Chikanda, Benin Republic, then Shaki in Oyo State and Benin Republic as well, Gamborungala, Chad, all this Garua, Yola side. It is high time we expand these monies. It is not when appropriation is made for the armed forces, police, DSS, you see their higher echelons enjoying convoys, going for. No, it shouldn't be. Let us see it on the other ranks of the Army, Navy, Air Force, police, DSS, including even paramilitary officers. Let us see it where they were, like police, for instance, now, They don't have barracks in Abuja and Lagos. Falomo, they say they are developing. Developing what? A police officer that is in charge of internal security. No barracks in Garki, no barracks in Utako, no barracks in Jabi, no barracks in Falomo, Ikoyi, no barracks in other areas. So they should build, even though those of the armed forces is a bit better, but even in Abuja here, some of them come as far from Buhari to come and resume duties. So there are a lot to be done. But the job also lies with the two chambers of the National Assembly. There we have Defense Committee, Subcommittee on Army, Subcommittee on Navy, Subcommittee on Air Force, Committee on Security and National Intelligence, Police, and host of others. Do you oversight to go and see these facilities? If they say we signed this, they bought this from U.S. government to government, weapons for this, maybe it's in 101 Battalion Kanji, maybe it's in this. Have you gone there as members of these committees to oversight? There are allegations that they normally bring some certain kickbacks and they let it go. It shouldn't be. Henceforth, members of these security-related committees must go out and oversight. It is true oversighting, you will know. You now come back, you address it. Have interaction with officers and men. Let them fall in. Let there be tattoo in your presence. You ask them questions, they answer. So the morale is low. Forget about when you see any chief of army staff that resumes, or chief of naval air, or chief of defense. Morale, they say high because obey the last order. You cannot tell your guy morale is not high. You are saying morale, maybe he has only taken Indomie and 2 eggs they cook for him. And maybe what they approve is more than that. Oversight can cope all this. So a lot of things are involved. Bureaucracy, lack of political will, corruption, as well as non-use of modern gadgets.
All right, comrade, let's look at, the rising threats and the modern challenges when we talk about digital and hybrid threats. I mean, we often hear about cyber attacks targeting hospitals, airports, and government agencies. How real is the threat of digital attacks affecting Nigeria's critical infrastructure and also public safety as well?
Severally, even some of the sensitive organizations, they had, during pandemic, you had situation where they almost, the issues are failures also. Like the Nigerian Police Force have what you call Nigerian Police Force National Cybercrime Center, situated opposite American Embassy in Area 1. It was built under corporate social responsibility initiative by then CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, by Central Bank of Nigeria. But the will is not there. Some of the officers there, if you see them, you even think they are CIA, FBI. But have they been given the will to do their job? Any WhatsApp chat or Facebook, if they want the history, the Nigerian Police Force National Cybercrime Center can do it. You have a gallant and intelligent Commissioner of Police, Uche, who is in charge of the place. So the issues are, in order to avert that, NITDA, in conjunction with NCC and the Nigerian Police Force National Cybercrime, must come together. So let the IG make that NCCCC to work very well, because it is already affecting the economy, where you see the cyber threat makes a lot of things not to go well. Several, I don't want to say it on air because it has security implication. They've done a lot of havoc to certain things, but the agencies charged with this responsibility must also be given that will to do their job. Sometimes when they make these arrests, you see calls coming, I'm so do this. Once somebody go and tamper with issues related to that, let the person pay the price.
So, comrade, do you think that there's a regional influence when it comes to the instability in West Africa? And is it contributing to the surge in the insecurity issues that we're facing in Nigeria today?
You see, when you talk about ISWAP and you talk about others, it even goes beyond regional influence. There are international conspirators. And just the way Nigeria is facing it, Mali is facing it, Burkina Faso is facing it, Niger, and a host of others. But when you talk about armed banditry in Zamfara, purely illegal gold mines, and all of them are involved, unscrupulous politicians, retired security, this and that. We said this severally. Itato, some of the communities hired some of these bandits to come and guard the place. Later, they got to know the process they need, and they turned the arms against the citizens there. So a lot of higher echelons are involved in that illegal gold mine in Zamfara. This of Kwara, Woro. In that Woro, there is an illegal gold mine taking place there. Let the DSS and DIA go and carry background check. Even there was a day they called me, I called one of the security operatives to tell him, so bandits, they said they are there. So one of the locals told me. I don't know whether they took action. So in Kwara and Niger too, illegal gold mines are also responsible. If people don't know, let us tell them. Even in this FCT, there are illegal gold mine sites in Dobi and other areas. So the issues are, there are two ways to it. The ones that have international and regional influence, because when we say the region is the West Africa, how come Benin Republic is not facing it? How come Ghana is West African country, right? Absolutely. How come Cameroon is facing its own, is political, because from the English-speaking side, they wanted the president who has overstayed and most of other things. So the issues are for the Northwest, communal, because they are saying Fulani and the Hausa in Katsina and some part of Sokoto, maybe all the Sabon Bini, or where they killed their local, their emir, His Majesty, the late emir of Gobir, at that time communal between the Hausa and Fulani. But illegal gold mines is also involved. So by those of Kebi, Lakura, you know, they are foreign terrorists. That just some can't even speak our language. They are disturbing Augi, Mera, Argungu. This attack in Woro, I'm narrowing it between either Iswap or Lakura because it was too sophisticated. So above all, if there is infrastructure, there are use of drones, modern gadgets, intelligence is enhanced, there wouldn't be all these things. But negligence, a lot of places in Nigeria are ungoverned. We call them ungoverned areas. Don't forget of recent, even they penetrated even Old Oyo National Park. But the combined security officers, how come in the Southwest it's not happening? Look at them now, they have security trust fund. In the North here, it's not there. Amotekun, it's a civil setup. But look at how they are gathering momentum. Even if a trailer is entering Akure, Abeokuta, is entering Ikeja, is entering Ado Ekiti, or is entering one of the state capitals, Oshogbo, they know, eagle eye, they will stop it. They will make everybody to come down and search.
So, Comrade, I'm talking about ungoverned areas. I mean, I remembered, I think the last conversation this same conversation we're having, you know, you stated border security, and I would like to know, rather hear from you, how serious is border security and arms trafficking in, you know, fueling this violence in Nigeria? Because we have, you know, heard reports, we have seen cases as to, you know, security experts keep saying we need to fortify our borders.
We have proliferation of arms, which is responsible as a result of porous nature of borders. Right now, if you go to major borders, nothing to write about, even the president of all the security agencies from immigration, customs, border police, DSS, army, and what have you, because they use the bush parts. The bush parts are not, and you know, it is only a Trump that will say they should fence border between America and Mexico. So even though General C.G. Musa, as chief of defense, he once gave that kind of a solution that maybe it is high time we fence our borders. So are you now fencing border between Cotonou to Owode part, Seme, and Idiroko part? Are you now fencing border between Chikanda, Niki, Parakou in Benin Republic, and Kosobosu, Gure, and Chikanda in Kwara? Are you now fencing that of Shagi? And how can you do that? The bush is so big, the forest, and most of other things. So what can be the solution is dispatch of 8-hour drones and surveillance and routine patrol. Give them sophisticated vehicles that can stand those jungles. Then helicopters. How many border areas have helicopters in Nigeria? Are we saying we don't have that money? In a situation where even from Niger to Nigeria, they are searching a woman naked. An Hausa lady was on TikTok of recent. She said a border between Niger and Nigeria, gendarmes had to search her to punch. Gendarmerie of Niger. So in most West African borders, you can't find helicopter. And I tell you, go and carry statistics of it. You can hardly find an helicopter in any of the borders. The way we take care of our airports, just because dignitaries fly there, we don't take care of our border posts like that. Because any international airport, look at the sophistication. Go to Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Murtala Mohammed International Airport, and host of other ones, Enugu and host of others. Sophistication because your president flies, ministers, governors, ambassadors, high commissioners, councillors, and host of others. What about border areas? How many ministers will say is using border from here to Chad or to Niger or this? They fly. Even within the state, domestically, they fly. So because very important personalities don't ply that route, it's for the masses. So it has been left abandoned. Where even the quarters, where the security agencies sleep, they sleep outside sometimes. I know of an officer who was in a border area between Guanara, that is Taberu, and Benin Republic. They sleep under the tree. So the House Committee on Internal Affairs, because immigration and, is under Interior, Customs is under Ministry of Finance. So the committees on Customs, Interior, that is immigration, please go for oversight. Go and bring inventory of what we have in the skeletal offices they built in Semeboda, Idi Roko, Owode, Chikanda, Benin Republic border, Gamborungala, Chad, Garwa, Yola, Cameroon border, Jibia, Niger border, Ilela, Sokoto, Niger border, and also of Babana, Benin Republic border. You can't find even 10 operational vehicles there. You can't find drones there. You can't find intelligence gathering gadgets there. Even the food the security agencies eat there, nothing to write home about. They will say, go and take care of yourself. In fact, some even expect that when they post a security agent to the border, he should be bringing return. It shouldn't be. Take care of the welfares of these other officers and men. Build befitting barracks for them at the border areas. In fact, if possible with air condition, let them have officers' mess, swimming pool, lawn tennis, what have you, where the recreational facilities. They are lacking. I have been there. In 1997, till date, I can tell you the improvement is no more than 40%. It shouldn't be. All these monies they appropriate annually, where are they? Are pythons swallowing these monies? So Minister of Interior, even though I appreciate your recent interface with immigration where you raise some issues, you shouldn't just be at the airport, sir. My very good brother, Olu, who was House of Rep member, that's the Minister of Interior, is a very, very energetic young man. Please make the Senate committee, House committee, go along, go for oversight altogether to our board. Unexpectedly, don't even tell the controllers there. Even though Customs is under finance. Controller General Adeni, a PR man, you know, he was PRO of Customs. In fact, I used to call him veteran Customs PRO because he became spokesperson of Customs from the rank of Assistant Superintendent of Customs till Controller. That is glory of God. And he was very, very good. So, Mr. Adeni Bashir, you alongside Controller General Immigration, Minister of Interior, Senate and House committees, please, including the police commissioner in charge of border police and those of the DSS, please go to our borders unexpectedly. Go and see how these officers are suffering there. The Ministry of Housing can be mandated to build barracks for them there. Before, during Abacha, there used to be armed forces and police barrack rehabilitation committee. Where is that now? President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, please tell Minister of Housing to bring back the Itato Armed Forces and Police Barrack Rehabilitation Committee, where a senior staff of housing then works on housing, headed architect Sani Gidado.
All right, Comrade, time is against us, but I think we have passed the era of where pythons and rats do invade our monies, but that was on a lighter note. But then before we wrap up, let's look ahead. What are the realistic warning signs Nigerians should watch out for?
The warning signs are we should expect more invasions.
Quickly, yeah, because time is against us.
Then again, we should be careful with public because they are also resorting to detonate bombs in certain areas. Then we should be like eagle eye. I think that's what I have to say.
All right, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Mr. Salihu Dantata Mahmud, a respected security expert and public affairs commentator. It's been a while I saw you.
It's been a
while,
yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
making it to the show this morning.